I want to call on the keynote speaker. We have here the presidential advisor, special advisor to the president on infrastructure, Engineer Ahmad Zakari. Before his appointment as special advisor, Zakari built an impressive career as a General Electric, where he acquired extensive experience, expertise, knowledge of the sector, as well as that of the oil and gas sector. From 2012 to 2014, he was the executive director and audit manager of Sub-Saharan Africa and Middle East division of GE Corporate. In 2015, he was appointed as chief operating officer of GE Nigeria. In 2017, he got further responsibility as he was appointed as ED for GE Power business in Sub-Saharan Africa. In that position, he was responsible for the company gas power business in Nigeria and South Africa. In 2019, he was appointed as the special advisor to the president on infrastructure. Ahmad also serves as the secretary to the Presidential Power Reform Coordination Working Group. Ahmad has a degree in electrical engineering and economics. He is actively involved with community, and I may want to add that he's a chief within the Emirates in Jigawa. I don't know the name, he will tell us. Engineer Zakari, you are most welcome to deliver your keynote address. Engineer Zakari, sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you clearly.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to engage today on this very important topic. I'd like to first thank the ACCI and its leadership for continuing to ensure that the relevant discussions on what is needed to ensure that business, industry, and government, we have a good nexus to provide partnership and cooperation in building our country and making progress. The power sector is one of the critical catalysts that we can use in Nigeria to accelerate our growth. In more contemporary terms, it can help us to get out of and stay out of recession. An enabled power sector will allow us to improve the ability of our job creation by helping industry, as well as ensuring that our population, the electrification challenge that we face, is appropriately catered for. But none of that can occur without a sustainable and fiscally responsible sector. And the Buhari administration is focused on ensuring that we can transition away from this concept of funding subsidies or using the liquidity in the sector to fund consumption rather than using it to provide infrastructure that essentially over time will lead to more sustainability. You can see from the thrust of the administration that that transition is occurring, and we should see the fruits of that labor continue to come out. What we've done on shifting from consumption to infrastructure, you know about the work that's being done with Siemens on the Presidential Power Initiative, which is focused on providing financing as well as equipment to the DISCOs and TCN to be able to bridge the gap that we have in infrastructure in the sector, be it substations, power lines, transformers. You've seen some announcements about the intervention that the president mandated on metering, which I'll talk a bit more about later, but also the critical CapEx loans that are being provided to DISCOs so that they can improve the network in their critical feeders where they have committed to higher service band performance to its consumers. We recently got a nod from the World Bank, and we expect one from the Africa Development Bank soon, on the distribution, rehabilitation, and expansion program, DISREP. The $500 million approval was announced last month, which continues to be a reflection of the bank and the donor community's confidence in the reforms that the administration is embarking on. We hope to put in over the next 24 months, $2.5 to $3 billion into the sector. Metering that we're talking about today is by and large one of the most critical elements in terms of revenue assurance for the sector. I'll give you some statistics. With enhanced payment discipline through the central bank, some of the work that we're doing on metering already, even before we've rolled out the 4 million or 5 million meters that we intend to under the program, we see that the tariff went up by, on average, 36%, mainly focused in band A, B, and C, but we experienced 64% last period growth in collections. So you can see that if we continue to do this, in the December cycle, the total number for collections was about 64 or 65 billion naira. This was coming up from an average of 40 billion per month that we were doing from August, prior of last year. So I think with this enhanced metering, increased performance on the service-based tariff, you could essentially see the Nigerian electricity supply industry to a trajectory to generating over 100 billion naira in the near to mid-term. This is very impressive. The hypothesis that we had was if you enhance payment discipline and you meter the populations, you will see the revenue go up. And we've proven that hypothesis. The second hypothesis we have is if you provide an incentive to DISCOs to be able to improve supply, they will improve supply and output. And we're beginning to see a ramp up in delivered power, getting up to 4,800, 4,900 megawatts steady, which we would like to raise to up to 7,000 megawatts within the next 12 months. So we have a firm belief that if you can create the sector to have the appropriate economics, you can then get enough energy sustainably to the people. And we would like to migrate away from subsidies, and people will be concerned about that. With the raise in tariff, we reduced subsidies by 20 billion naira a month in the power sector already, and we plan to eliminate it by the end of the year. People will say, if you eliminate subsidies, you're going to have poor people or the vulnerable populations pay more. Our argument is that the only reason the power price in Nigeria is actually high is because you don't generate enough. If you generated 10 gigawatts of power, the tariff today would be half of what it costs. So keeping the prices artificially low is not the approach. Increasing delivered power is the approach, and you effectively get the same output, which is the citizens pay a lower price. Through our discussions with organized labor and through some of the enhanced funding mechanisms that I explained earlier, we expect that the critical interfaces between TCN and the DISCOs, we're going to put emergency funding out to fix them through some partnership we're doing with the DISCOs and TCN. The metering program, to date, we've purchased and delivered through the program about 600,000 meters, and they're actively being installed by the DISCOs. We plan to finish the total amount by the next 2 months, and then we'll move to phase 0, which will be procurement in bulk from only local manufacturers, which will help us create jobs and stimulate our economy. Lots going on. I've never felt better about the power sector. The leadership of His Excellency, the President, on forcing everyone to come into this power sector reform working group that is chaired by the Vice President, vice chaired by the Honorable Minister of Power, and it includes the Kaduna Governor for the states, the Finance Minister, as well as the Central Bank Governor and the Chief of Staff. That has enabled us to, more so than ever, have clarity and coordination amongst the principals. And that's why you see us being able to move very fast and in a coordinated manner. I'd like to say that our support for NERC, NERC, and NEMSA is unwavering. We know that in this program of metering, in the program of regulation, they're very important elements, and the Minister of Power continues to ensure that they can do their work unimpeded. And I'd say that there is no alternative than for everyone, the GENCOs, the DISCOs, the government, everybody to work together. I've always been an advocate of let's stop the blame game and let's get on the table and work together to find solutions. And I think that approach is bearing fruit. So I would like to thank the President and the leadership of ACCI for hosting this event. And I would like to say that I encourage the ACCI and other groups to continue to provide these platforms so that the right messaging and coordination and partnership on solutions can occur. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Zakari. We really appreciate your overview, bed view of the sector, and being the special advisor to the President, we cannot get better information from any other source better than you. You've talked about the need to shift from consumption to infrastructure development, and a lot has been done. The cement initiative, the CAPEX loans to DISCOs, mass metering, and the World Bank, even FDB support. They need to get the economics of the sector right, and they need to migrate away from subsidy